There should be education for rich and for poor, for everybody. Education is not a luxury. It should be a right. Latin America is the one region in the planet with the most unequal distribution of wealth. That means that a few people have a lot, and a lot of people have nothing. That also means that a few kids can have access to an education of excellence, and millions of kids have never been to a school. There are 40 million children and young people in Latin America in the street, literally in the street, with no opportunities to go to a regular school. And I think that my generation is not willing to tolerate this brutal contrast any longer. We jumped to Barranquilla with the huge dream of building a pies descalzos school for around 2,000 children in one of the most vulnerable areas of Colombia due to its extreme poverty. Colombia is the second country in the world after Sudan in number of displaced people. That means that around 3 million people actually flee their homes and escape violence and the crossfire and the internal war in my country to go to the big cities where they will feel safer, but they will have nothing. They will have no roof to stay under, no work opportunities, no food or education to provide their children with. I'm convinced that education is the key to world peace. And I don't say this because someone told me, or I've heard it from the experts, or I've read it. I mean, I'm a student in all these issues related to education. I am learning every day more and more, and I get more and more answers that convince me of how urgent it is to invest on education for all. But I've also seen it with my own eyes, you know, working in Colombia in the field since I was 18 years old. You know, I decided to establish my foundation in Colombia, and since then we've been building schools in areas where there's conflict or extreme poverty, and whenever we see that there are children without opportunities to access education. We not only build schools but also provide quality, high-quality education accompanied with the nutritional component, which is so essential, so key for our models to succeed. And I am convinced that education is the tool that will unlock every kid's talents and potentials. And I'm convinced that education is the best deal for everyone, for the rich countries and for poor countries. I mean, when we invest in kids' potentials and talents, we are securing a safer world. We are preventing these kids from joining criminal groups or gangs or terrorist groups. We are preventing illnesses such as HIV/AIDS and so many other illnesses, especially educating women as well, which is so important. By providing education, we're boosting economy, and well, the answer to that is educating our children, because just 1 year of primary education signifies that that kid in his adult life or her adult life will be able to earn 10 to 20% more in salaries and wages, you know, when they grow up. So that means that education really is a powerful tool to generate income. But beyond all that, it's the only way we can guarantee a world in peace, a world in which everyone feels that they have the same opportunities, you know. And the reason why I got so involved is because, you know, I grew up in Colombia, and Colombia is a developing country where a lot of people don't have access to the most basic needs, and where education is considered a luxury, unfortunately, because we all know that education is a birthright. And I just grew up frustrated seeing how many people weren't able to realize their own dreams, you know. When I was 8 years old, and my dad and my mom took me to the park where they showed me other kids my age sniffing glue. They were orphans. They had no one to watch after them, and they were barefoot, and they were abandoned to their own luck. And it probably left such an impression in my impressionable mind at that age that I remember that day, and I remember that I made myself a promise. I said to myself, Shakira, you have to succeed. Someday do something for those kids who I saw that day in the park. So as soon as I had my first big success with Pies Descalzos, which was my third album, I decided to establish my own foundation and do my own contribution to the change, even if it was going to be a small one. But I wanted to be active. And that's how it all started, you know, going through my own financial struggle and the struggle of my family, and understanding that the one thing that I never lacked was care, protection, and an education. And that's probably what made me thrive in life. And you know, when I see kids in Colombia and everywhere around the world, I see my own face in them. I see my own dreams. I know that no kid in Colombia or anywhere in the world is dreaming right now about becoming a drug trafficker, or dreaming about becoming an assassin or a criminal. Kids dream about noble things. They dream about becoming teachers or doctors or scientists or firemen, you know. And it's us who don't provide them with those opportunities so they can live dignified lives, you know. As Rousseau once said, men are born good, but society corrupts them. I believe in the human nature. I believe in the kindness of it, but I believe that if we don't provide people with opportunity, especially at a very early stage, when we have the chances to do so, we are denying ourselves of a better world, you know.
I believe that music is the soundtrack of our lives, really. Music can make you dance, can make you laugh, forget about your troubles, but also can make you think, and can also be an important vehicle to bring awareness to important issues. So I'd like to thank all the people around the world who joined me with the Waka Waka and who danced for the cause of promoting universal education, so millions of children living in the developing world can have a chance at their own dreams. I'd like to share this award with all of you, and and with all the young people around the world who volunteer their time, their energy, their efforts, and their ideas for a cause that they believe in. You are truly an inspiration. You are my inspiration, because you have taught me that there is no bigger pleasure in life than giving. So keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
The ability to learn and work and dream. I think the most important thing is to continue dreaming and not giving up, and knowing that, you know, that life is not always easy, but you can't give up. In which I grew up seeing and witnessing a great deal of poverty and inequality. Today, 3 million kids in Colombia don't go to school, and 2.5 million people are displaced. That means that they're internal refugees in their own country. These are families who have lost everything they had. So the saddest thing of all is that every hour in Latin America, 50 kids die from avoidable causes. And those are outrageous. It's an outrageous fact. I think that this is, well, we all think so, and that's why we're here. This is our moment in history to act as a global community, and a global community of citizen activists. I think that our generation has a tremendous power. We all believe so. We have so many tools, but especially we have a voice, and that voice has to be heard. And that happened because we were convinced, and I think that when we are convinced about something, we will make it happen. That's for sure. You know, I arrived to this country a few years ago, and I started touring within the US, and I suddenly started realizing why this country was so special. And I came to the conclusion that the American dream is not a cliche. It exists. It's real, and it's powerful.
But what's sad is that in countries like mine, in Latin America, for example, and in so many other developing countries in the world, people, because of the lack of opportunity, people's fate seems like it has been written even before they were born. And in countries like mine, if you're born poor, you will die poor. And education is a privilege and a luxury and not a birthright, like it should be, like it is here. So I say to you, people who live in America, to use that right, take it and maximize it. And that opportunity, that great opportunity that education is, just make the most out of it. Because you can change the lives of so many people around the world. And I see in your faces the future doctors, the future nurses, the future lawyers, the future artists, maybe the future presidents. And I see in your faces the future of America, but I also see the future of my own people. Because I think that we live in an interconnected society, and believe it or not, as we speak, in Colombia, there is a little girl, like I used to be, dreaming about a dream that for her it might be today unattainable, but tomorrow, maybe because of you, it will be possible. And you might think, or ask yourselves, what do I have to do with the little girl who lives in Colombia? Or, you know, why do we have to be concerned about the problems of so many other countries when we have our own issues at home? And that's a valid question, but the truth is that every child's dream matters. Every child. It doesn't matter, independently, thank you. Independently to where they're born, if they were born in Africa or in Southeast Asia or in Bogota or in Beverly Hills, I think every child counts. And I would like to encourage you, and taking advantage of this moment, to encourage you to participate and get involved in any cause that you feel is close to your heart, and do it, and take actions. They don't have to be big gestures. Even if they're small steps, they still count. Everything counts. And I think that, and we will think that by doing so, we'll be shaping a different society. We will be creating a culture of solidarity that our kids and the kids of our kids will inherit, and we will be becoming the architects of change.
Since I was 18 years old, I decided to establish my foundation in Colombia to provide high-quality education for kids, and to build schools in areas where there have been, for many years, a lack of presence from the government.
For an 18-year-old, that is absolutely amazing.
Because each one of these kids have a name, have a heart, have a dream. We can't any longer. I mean, my generation is not willing to tolerate it anymore because, I mean, we have a country split in two. If we don't react now, then when?
The kids that we were about to see were kids that were used to just having one meal a day, kids who came from very tragic situations. We provide them with breakfast, snacks, lunch every day, and psychological support.
La verdad que me voy muy satisfecha. Se va uno como con una lección muy grande.
I think that we all come to this world with a star, with a talent and with a gift. And then, later, dreams are born. And no one, absolutely no one, has the authority to stop those dreams.
And sometimes we can't fight culture, but we can fight poverty.
If we all want the eradication of poverty, promoting education for all will be the fastest vehicle to take us there. 200 million children live without any access to any primary or secondary education. Now, this can only be a synonym of hunger, resentment, violence, slavery, discrimination, war. Education is the way to guarantee this doesn't happen and to ensure global security and economic development.
I firmly believe that providing our kids with food and education, it's all we need to do, is the first prerequisite to make out of Latin America the prosperous continent that we all dream about.